I don't know, whatever. I don't know what happened. But anyway, he said he didn't need it because, he's the president. He don't need nothing. Anyway.
I said, you gotta be kidding.
At the dinner, he also showed guests miniature models for a new arch he wants built in Washington.
It's gonna be really beautiful. I think it's gonna be fantastic. There's a rendering of what it will look like. You have to resize. I would say the largest one. This came out of what it would look like in either of the three, any of the three sizes.
Okay.
Since returning to power,
Basically,
Donald Trump has been...
I just wanted you to hear that because I was not holding it correctly so that you can actually see footage. But I'll put that link in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. What's happening here is that Trumpy boy, what he's doing is he's actually showing off the new ark that he is about to build in his name, the Ark of Trump. Because if you check out the Ark of Titus, you will see that on the wall of the Ark of Titus, you have the Romans conquering the Israelites. Now, if you think that these people that call themselves Israelis, if you think that they're the true Israelites, then wouldn't they have a problem with that monument? Wouldn't they be like, yeah, that's anti-Semitic, stuff like that? They know they're not against it because they was a part of it. They are from that same Roman Empire. Well, to a certain degree. Because just like how you have the house of Judah, you also have the house of Ephraim or the house of Joseph, which is the two kingdoms. And nowadays, basically what you could say is you have the house of Amalek, and then you have the house of Edom or Edom Esau, because they are against each other too. Amalek is setting up rulers over them, and that's Trumpy boy, because if you check out the whole history, it says it right there. You have like 139 donors that are actually that he goes to for money. Who do you think those donors are? They're Amalek. Those are the ones like they're called Rothschilds and stuff like that. Those are the ones that are going to set up that cruel king. And he's that cruel king. Isaiah chapter 19, and then verse 1 and stuff like that. And then Isaiah chapter 20, which shows you who that cruel king was. That's why I learned this saying that history doesn't repeat itself 100. Well, I added onto it because the scripture says history repeats itself. What has been actually it didn't say hey history repeats itself. It says that which has been is that which is now, and that which has been is that which is going to be. It says that also. That's in Ecclesiastes 1, and the other one that I said is in Ecclesiastes 3. But basically, what you can sum up off of that, history repeats itself. But if you actually read it, then you will see like it's not the same nation that's actually doing the same thing again. It's a different nation in their stead. Just like Babylon, for example, that was Nebuchadnezzar. You had Cush and all that there. But nowadays, Babylon is Esau. So did it repeat itself 100%? No. But is it the same type of cycle? Yes, it is. So that's the same thing with what's happening with Trumpy boy. What is happening is you have the leaders of America. They're the ones that are setting him up. And if Trump is not down with what they say that he needs to do, they're going to JFK him. So the point is, who's the real boss? The ones behind him. Those are the real bosses. Anyway, so the Ark of Titus, right? The Ark of Titus is I think this thing is melting, coming in my eye. Damn it. The oil is coming in my eye. Anyway, so what's happening right now is Trump is starting to begin that arc. And with that is what I think this is a memorial start beginning of this is where it's going to start. This is where the Jacob's trouble is going to elevate even more as it is right now and has been for a few years already. But it's not for the everyday Jacob descendant, but it's going to be up in the everyday Jacob descendants, their lives. It's not just they're going to hear about it. We're going to hear about it. We're going to go through it. Right? So it says right here, I have then therefore, what did I have again? Isaiah chapter 32. Right, because the troubles are coming. And like I said, if you read it's not read it's an article about the Ark of the Covenant. Like I said, they conquered the Israelites, and therefore they set up a monument to show and to show off the pride that they did conquer the Jacob descendants or the Israelites, right? But like I said, if it was really against these so-called people that call themselves Israelis, if it was really a memorial against them, wouldn't they have a problem with it? If you raise up, for example, a Hitler on a statue, they're going to have a problem with it. I'm giving you examples. So the Ark of Titus should be in the same category. They're not doing that because there was a part of it. It's basically Esau. That's what I mean. So, but what's coming now? The daily troubles of the Jacob descendant women. Those troubles are coming because Esau, he's the one that made you comfortable, and then he made you fight against your own men, and then you don't need them no more. But now he's gonna actually turn on you because now you're solo. You don't have no one. You know, it's like the scripture says that when two walk together. What's it again? When one, if you were two, but one falls, then woe unto that man because he has no one else that basically lift him up. Well, that's gonna happen to the Jacob descendant women. you alone, and therefore there's not gonna be anyone to hold you up once that time comes. And by the way, you kicked him away, so that's gonna make it even worse. All the guys that are in jail because of a female, for example, child support, and you're in the midst of murderers, killers, anything you can imagine. You're in the midst of them. Meanwhile, you're just there for some money's sake that you couldn't pay or didn't want to, but still, you're not supposed to be in the midst of murderers and stuff like that just for some money business, for some money charges that you didn't pay, right? So all those men, once they get out, once that time comes, who do you think they're gonna get? Them females that put them there, or that cost for them to be put there. They're gonna get them. But anyway, Isaiah chapter 32, verse 1. Because these are the troubles that we are in right now, and the daughters are being warned. You know, the daughters of Jacob are being warned. The men of Jacob have been, the daughters of Jacob have been being warned for as long as the men are being warned. But you know, the women have not been feeling it yet. Once that time comes, they're going to be shocked to the fact that, hey, this shit's getting closer. But me actually, I put the faith on Yahawashi. I'm really not worried about that. Lord willing, I'm not. You know, if you read First Kings chapter 7 or 17, if I'm correct, you will see that Elijah got taken care of by birds, man. So Yahawashi said, I'm not worried about that, man. Most High is going to take care of who He's going to take care of, and if He don't take care of you, then you deserve it. Plus, you have others that are going to be decapitated for the name of Yahawashi. So does that mean that they are not of the elect? Yeah, they are. Just like First Thessalonians chapter 4 explains to you that some will die in Yahawashi, and those are the ones that will come back first, having that new body and stuff like that. But anyway, Isaiah chapter 32, verse 1. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of waters in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. As it says here, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So let me read it again, verse 2, Isaiah 32 and 2. A man shall be as a hiding place from the wind. That's an Israelite man. A man that has Yahawashi, that has these scriptures, that has the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and the protection, therefore, and the protection of Yahawashi, because wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. So when everybody is panicking, you be looking at them. Why you scared? You know? I've been around people, even if you tell them this truth, man, they still scared, man. Which is understandable, but therefore you need to comfort them with these scriptures. But if you a carnal man chasing females all the time, and once that time comes, the Most High shake that tree, and you one of them creatures in a tree, living all safe and all that type of stuff, because that's what it is actually. Because in these type of countries, you're actually safe. Women are safe. That's why they're in the trees, because Esau is that big tree, and the birds are there in the tree because they're safe from the predators down there. But once the Most High come, like a real bear, and he shake that tree, you know how them bears shake trees? Certain people's gonna be afraid, man. You know? That shows you that even though they high up in them trees, or high up in Esau's little world, and I don't want to say society, I'll just say world, you still have them that they are afraid, you know. But hey, it's in the flesh, so we pray that we don't have a fearful spirit, to the power of Yahawashi. But anyway, and a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, and that tempest represents destruction. And you're going to be a covert. And the word covert, if you check out that word in the dictionary, it actually says one that is protected by, a woman that is protected by her husband, and therefore, let me get it. The word covert in the dictionary, I'll show you which dictionary you need to check out. Which dictionary is it actually? Oh. Free dictionary by Farlex. I think with glasses or something like that. Yeah. They got glasses. That logo there with the glasses. Can you see it? That one. Right, that dictionary. And then I'm gonna look up the word covert. Covert. Right, so the third definition of the word covert, law. So it says law being married, and therefore it's backwards when I read it like that. It says here, law being married and therefore protected by one's husband. So the third definition of the word covert, and this goes coincide with Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1. It says that then 7 women shall take hold of one man, because that man is a man of Yahawashi, and he gonna protect you. With me, Yahawashi, I hope I have that spirit to actually, if I was to be in that lot, I hope I have the spirit to see if this female is just here for that ass being saved, or if she's here, or she's really here sincerely trying to be believing in Yahawashi. Because like I said, well, not like I said, like the world shows, right? You have a lot of these females out here, they're just here for the ride, man. Because if another one comes with that same ride, meaning the lifestyle, money, even actual physical car too, if another one comes with it, she looks at him, she looks at you, she bumps. Those type of women exist, of course. But hey, we're gonna find out, man. We're gonna find out who is who, and who is of what, and who is of who. You know? Are you a false teacher, or are you a liar, or are you somebody that's out here trying to get some money? You know, all that there. Are you a scripture twister? I'm gonna find out. And so will you. Everybody will find out eventually. Anyway, so it says here, Isaiah chapter 32 verse 2. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place. Rivers of waters in a dry place. For example, the valley of dry bones. That man is going to be as a river walking through the valley of dry bones, man. In the valley of the shadow of death is America, because the death is near, and therefore the shadow of death is right there. It's right there. So if you pass the shadow of death, or the shadow of death, or death himself cast his shadow upon you, that means you're very close, and he can actually touch you. Most of the time when you are in somebody's shadow, they're in touching range, you know? They're in touching range. You know, sometimes your shadow just actually really goes far. It's not touching range anymore, but it's like throwing range and stuff like that. So, but your shadow is connected to your body. That's the point. So where the shadow is, that's the body. So death is close, and all that there. But anyway, that's the valley of the shadow of death, because they're always near death, or like near death experiences. You know, a lot of Jacob descendants go through that thing, man. A lot of them don't make it up. You know, just Jake's in the world and stuff like that. But some of them still got stories like, yeah, how they almost got, killed. There was a situation the other day where Jacob descendants was teaching. Jacob descendant, it was one man in the park. He was teaching these words in the park, the scriptures. Then an Edomite came to him with a gun, and he basically wrestled the gun off of him. And I think he unloaded it. I don't know what he actually did. I didn't look further. I just saw that. I saw it today, actually. I didn't know. I saw it today. Before I came here to the camp, to the tent. And yeah, damn. I don't know what the hell. I think. I think. Damn, I ain't got no fucking picture. He's kind of. Anyway, fuck it. So let me go on. Right, I think the thing is melting. Anyway, it says here, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. That's how that's how the man of the Lord is going to be in that time. They're going to be like water. They're going to be like a great rock in a weary land, because the sun cometh down and start beating up on people. And you, with your beautiful lifestyle, you're going to be passing away. Because it says right here in the book of Isaiah, no, James chapter 1, it says all the people with a beautiful lifestyle, especially the rich, they're going to wither away once that sun comes down upon you. And that sun is going to be that judgment. And where is that judgment going to come down from? It's going to come down from that fiery throne from Yahawashi. That's that fiery judgment that's going to come upon the planet Earth. Proverbs chapter 1 talks about that. So this is 1 John 2 and 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So let me read it again. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. So if you look at pictures of landscapes of the world, it's a beautiful place. So it's not talking about that, because the Most High created it and it was good, it was beautiful. But it's talking about the society. For example, they celebrate flying reindeers. They're about to celebrate this Halloween, but in the Netherlands they call it Saint Martin. Yeah, man, they call it Saint Martin, and they don't dress up like devils, but they're trying to put it up in there. And I remember I was at this group where they was trying to actually associate the book of something with Elisha, but they was trying to associate this Saint Martin guy as Elisha. I was having none of that, because I read the scriptures and that's not what it means. So I was biting back, and she didn't really like it, but she was looking at me like that he actually read the scriptures, because she was trying to teach others, like a whole group. But I wasn't having it. I was like, no, that's not what it says, because it says right here, and you just taking the story out of the scriptures and then making your own thing. That is not what it says. And yeah, I had to stop that session, but that was a long time ago, by the way. So anyway, but I do know that they're trying to integrate their own things when it comes to the scriptures. They've been doing that. Right? If you watch this movie called Blues Brothers, then you will see. If you watch this other, not movie, just history itself, like rock and roll, they've been doing that. They put themselves as if they're the ones that created everything. They're lying to you. So, as a shadow of So love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So now James chapter 1 verse 9. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted. Let the rich in that he is made, but the rich in that he is made low. So in your low degree, the Heavenly Father will exalt you, because not many wise men after the flesh is going to take this truth and actually really accept it. And for example, go out there in all faith of the scriptures and just go out there and talk. It don't matter, because the elect, the men of Yahawashi, they're not going to care about that. They're gonna pray for making it and stuff like that. But the rest of it, they're not going to care. They're just going to be like, man, I'm just going to do my part. and we will see what the Heavenly Father shall do after that. At least I did my work, you know. And there will be a crown upon the head anyway. So if you die in this truth, you don't have to worry about nothing. But what is our strive? The strive for that is blessed is he to see the fall of his enemy. Just like how you had that man that wanted to see Yahawashi being born, and he got to see it, and then he could pass away in peace. So it's going to be a beautiful thing to see the fall of the enemy, and then looking at him like laughing and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that Yahawashi set you up like that. And if you get that spiritual power, knowing that your name is going to be written in the book of life, you in there. So you don't have to worry about anything else. So rejoice in that. But anyway, but the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, right? But it withereth the grass, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perisheth. So also shall the rich man fade away in his ways. So, let me read it again. Blessed. Oh, no, wait. Verse 11. So James 1:11. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withereth the grass, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perisheth. So also shall the rich man fade in his ways. So all the people that have this little beautiful thing and stuff like that, they're gonna actually fade away, just like the Lord said. Like when the burning heat of the sun hit that grass, it's gonna wither away. And if you do know, flowers are beautiful, especially when you deck it out in a certain way, in a garden and stuff like that. I'm not talking about flowers in the house. That's just stupid. Those flowers are dead. You know, the flowers are dead. But if you have them in your yard, your garden, all that there, if you just walk the street or whatever and you see them on the side, you know, just somewhere, then, you know, take a moment and be like, yeah, the Most High did that, right? But anyway, Isaiah 32 and 2. And the man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place. What does that dry place represent? That sun also, because if it's dry, the sun did that. The sun can dry stuff up, because the sun brings life, but it brings death too. Fire brings life, but it brings death too. Water brings life, but it brings death too. Jump in the water, see what happens to you. Especially if it's cold. So it brings all these things, right? So the Most High is about duality. You know, man, woman, stuff like that, blue, red, and all that there. But anyway, let me go on. So it says right here, Isaiah chapter 32 verse, the rest of 2. As the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. What is a weary land? The desert. And what is the sun going to do to you? It's going to beat you down and make you tired. Haven't you ever figured it out? Like when it's a sunny day, all of a sudden you get tired? It might be that you get tired. You know, it depends on, you know, your body or that day. If you ate good, you drank good, you're not going to get tired. But if you didn't drink good, or if you didn't eat good, yeah, you can get tired, especially if you start doing stuff, you know, you're doing a lot of things. You can get tired just because of the sun, you know? It zaps it's possible. It could zap the joy out of you. The joy of just moving around. You just want to sit down and be like, oh man, hey, sun is messing. But if you a man of Yahawashi, you're going to be watered in those days, man. You know, you're going to be in that desert and everybody else looking at you like, man, how is he standing tall and he got like fruits in due season? And everybody else is starving to death. Yeah. That's because you got this water given unto Yahawashi by Yahweh. And he came to bring that same water unto us. That water of Jeremiah chapter 2. That living fountain. What the fuck am I feeling? God damn. I know what it is, man. But I don't want to be filthy. I need a fucking tissue. Damn, now it won't stop. Yeah, sorry about that, man. Shit. Something in my fucking eye. Anyway, so let me go on. So it says right here, right? Now, Isaiah chapter 32, verse 3. And the eyes of them that see shall not be dim, and the ears of them that hear shall hearken. Right, those are the ones that are going to see through everything, going to hear to and understand of Yahawashi. Like, for example, you had the elder apostles, but you had then, back then and still now, you had them talking about the destruction that's going to come upon Jacob, Jacob's destruction, Jacob's trouble. And a lot of people were saying like, yeah, fear mongers and stuff like that. But in the end, it shall speak. It shall be true. And people going to know about it. And once they find out, they're going to be like, oh shit, they was telling the truth. And they were. But then it might, it might still be time for you. It still is. Because I don't think it's shut up. Because you still have people that are waking up to this truth, man. Once you start going out trying to seek this truth and you can't find it no more, then you can know it's shut up. But other than that, like I said, you still got people unto this day still learning about this truth, man. Oh, really? We Israelite? They start following, they start learning and all that there. So, hey, verse 4. The heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers shall be ready to speak plainly. Right. Because that's what's happening right now. Yahawashi, he's making it, just like how it says, make it plain upon tables. The understanding is coming. The book of Isaiah says, 11 says that, it's talking about Yahawashi, that he will be of quick understanding, but the men of Yahawashi, the men of the Lord Yahawashi shall be of quick understanding also. They're going to get it right then and there. Some people you got to actually battle with them a little bit, like them unbelieving Thomas type of characters. They do believe in Yahawashi, but they're a little bit stubborn. Or a little bit harder to convince. But anyway, but that's the challenge. Because it's like this. If what type of teachers are great? Well, I would see them as great teachers. Not that the others are not great, but I'm just saying this. If a teacher that teaches the dummies and then they get it, that's good. Because if you teach like smart people and stuff like that, okay, you achieved something, but you didn't achieve something. But you achieved something because they already got it. Focusing on the ones that are it's hard for them to get, which are the ones of low degree, for example. And then when you teach them, it's going to be a beautiful thing because everybody else, especially people of the world, they're going to be looking at them like, oh, they're dummies and stuff like that. But when you come, you teach them, all of a sudden, they brighten up, they lighten up, they turn into a light. And then everybody else is going to start looking at them like, but you nothing though. But how does he know these things? How does he know these spiritual things? I used to talk to this guy back in the days. He wasn't that deep and insightful, using scriptures to actually break down the entire planet and history and present and future. He wasn't about that lifestyle. Now he is. And that's what I call a dope. That's what I call a great teacher, But anyway, that's just, I'm not boasting. I'm just saying. Because I had great teachers in the scriptures, so I might as well be talking about them. You see what I'm saying? Right. So in this truth, right? Had teachers, have teachers. Have and had. Anyway, so it says right here, verse 5, the vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. Now the liberal people are the noble ones, and the churl are the scoundrels and dishonest. And that's what's happening in this world. All the dishonest people, they actually put them up on a pedestal. But the Most High is going to make it to where it's going to be right side back up. Because now the world is upside down. But it's going to be right side back up. The ones that know Yahawashi, they're the ones that are going to be uplifted in the minds of the people. Because like I said, for example, a lot of people worship this guy. What's his name again? Edom Musk. I know he's Elon, but anyway. Elon Musk. The guy is one of the dumbest people up on the planet. If you check out his history, he don't know shit. This guy is faking a game, man. He was playing this game. I forgot this game, Path of Exile or something like that. He was faking it. If you this brilliant guy, how come you need to fake a game, man? Just look it up. Elon Musk faking a game. and then thinking that people that know the game are not gonna know that you're full of feces. You're just lying. But he wanted to come off showing us as if he was smart. He isn't, because he didn't get it. A liar doesn't need to actually, a person that is smart doesn't need to lie to show off his skills and all that type of stuff. But he wanted to show off his skills, but it was wrong. Everybody saw it, and I saw it too. What are you doing? Yeah? But Esau created a society where you got to maintain your lie. Look at The Rock, for example. He been shooting up steroids for nearly 30 years. Now he had to stop because he probably got kidney problems. But that's the thing, the facade and the lie. And that society, that's why the Lord said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. And everybody acting shocked, not acting, they're actually shocked to see that he was all full of gas. Because that is what you are when you on steroids. Steroids actually make you, when you lift up, then it actually tightens the muscle, but it keeps it tightened for basically perpetually. As long as you keep on shooting up, that muscle is gonna keep on tightening up. You know when you tighten your muscles, that's what the steroids is doing. It keeps it tight, even when you are relaxed. That's why some of them gotta walk like this with their hands stuck out, because the muscles is tight and they're not relaxed. Even though he's relaxing them, but they're not relaxed because they're pumped up, because they stay in that perpetual state of, that one. But once you start loosening up, getting off that gear, then the muscles is going to relax once more, and then you're going to turn back to your regular old nothing ass self. Because that's what they think of themselves when they look in the mirror. That's why they want to hit the gym, trying to be bigger than they really are, instead of hitting the gym to be flexible, so that when somebody does something stupid, you are able to defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's not about trying to be the biggest motherfucker on the block, because I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do something else if I be like, okay, coquette. Anyway, I'm not a Jimmy guy, by the way. I'm not a phony neither, meaning I'm on the phone. I call people that walk like this, I call them phonies, because they're on the phone all the time. But anyway, what Esau is doing is he's creating a whole gang of liars, because if you are an actor, a paid actor, they're paying you millions and stuff like that. You're a documented paid liar. that's what you are. In one movie they're a good cop, in another movie they're bad cops or cop and all that type of stuff. But it's basically a glorified liar. So that's what you are in Esau society. He glorifies liars. He glorifies the fake. But the Most High is going to make it to where the righteous is going to be glorified, In the land where they have been put to shame, the Most High is going to give them fame, right? I just want to chase people. Fuck the fame. Like, for real. Isaiah chapter 32, verse 6. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Heavenly Father, to make empty the soul of the hungry by teaching them false doctrines. Because you have these Jacob descendants that are hungry for this truth. Yeah, I'm hungry for this knowledge, man. And then he teaches them bullshit, He puts doctrines out there, make Jacob descendants cling onto the doctrines of of Egypt, which is the doctrines of Ham. But Esau is the one that actually pushed it toward them. Because when the slaves came to America and South America, they wasn't on that type of tip. Like, hey man, we the ancient Egyptians. No, Esau started putting it in the movies. He started putting it in the literature or whatever they call it, the stories and all that type of stuff, games, movies, and cartoons. And then from there on, Jake started grabbing up and holding it and talking about, see, he's talking about us. He wasn't talking about you. He's talking about them Hamites, which you think that you are. And the word claim means basically to say something without evidence. So you claim that you are, some of them Jacob descendants claim that they're Zulus, and some of them claim that they are the ancient Egyptians. You're none of those. You're a Jacob descendant that's lost. That's calling itself just like Esau. The majority of the Edomites are lost, but the elites know exactly what they are and who they are. And they want to keep that facade going so that their empire could go on further. They need it. Because if their own public finds out, they're going to have a bad time. There shall be sedition among men, because the rest of the Edomites, they're going to want to attack them. You had this movie called Undercover Brother with Eddie Griffin. In that movie, you will see that the average Edomite, they're going to start to gravitate toward Jacob. And there comes the scripture where it says, they shall seek to please the poor. They shall seek to please the poor. They're going to try and fight for Jacob too. And his hand shall restore his goods, because they're going to want to give it back. But it's not going to be in your favor, because we're going to take it back, first and foremost. And second, you still going to have to pay for the bloodshed of your ancestors and stuff like that. So you're going to pay for that. Anyway, Isaiah chapter 32 verse, the rest of 6. And he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. And that drink is talking about the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of, let me get that for you, in the book of Jeremiah chapter 2 verse. I always keep on coming back to the same scriptures because it's easier for me to explain without having to talk a lot. I don't mind talking a lot. By the way, explanation is a fun thing. Like I said, if you are able to explain to a person that is not really, I think that is a dope thing. So Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 13. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the living fountain. Wait a minute. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. So the waters is Yahawashi. And that same water Yahawashi came to bring in John 4 at that pit. Right, so back to Isaiah 32 and 7. Well, the rest of 6. And he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Oh. Yeah, because that's what Esau is doing right now, right? He is costing the thirsty people to actually basically fail by giving them fake doctrines. But the Most High is going to cause him to actually fail with his fake doctrines spreading. And how is he going to do that? Well, if you've woken up to this truth, all the tricks that Esau is putting out there in order for you to fail when you're thirsty, you want that water of Yahawashi. If you still got that water, then Esau failed. The Most High caused it to where you cannot deceive the very elect. If it was possible, you would. So also with that scripture, it's going to be very hard for the ones that don't have Yahawashi to not be tricked. They're going to be tricked, If it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. So that means if you are not of the elect, then it's going to be very hard for you not to get deceived. That's going to be a real, it's going to be a real doozy, as Esau says, right? Look, a real doozy, something like that. He says that word. I think it's a real doozy, something shit. But anyway, so it says right here. Verse 7, Isaiah 32 and 7. The instruments also of the churl are evil. They are evil. Like I said, the churl means scoundrel or dishonest. And that's what Esau is. He's a scoundrel, a scum. Now, I looked up the word scum. And it's actually, when you have a water that's situated still, like water that's not moving, stagnant water, I think it is. Then you will see moss and just foam growing up on the top of the water because it's still. So all these bacteria start popping up, and if you drink that water, well, you're gonna get diseases that even when you go to Esau, he's like, I didn't do this. Where'd you get this from? This is not recorded. Where'd you get this from? I drank some water, stagnant water that was still. Oh, well, you need to go to the Lord to help you, boy, because I can't help you. But anyway, so you're gonna have that too, right? So going on, it says right here. Let me read it again. The instruments are also of the churl are evil, because that's where the word scum. If you look up the word scum, you're gonna see that. That was it actually. It's something that has a lot of diseases, because it's bacteria and stuff like that. So if somebody calls you scum, look up the word scum, and you will see what they actually call you. A lot of people don't actually understand what that word means. Actually, Because if you have the understanding of the certain words, it's actually going to help you better to understand certain things. Like when you read the scriptures. For example, there's this word called kudal. Kudal in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 9 or 8. I think it was 9. But the king of Tyre came, and King Solomon handed him 20 cities in Naphtali, in Galilee. So he handed him 20 cities, and then he came from Tyre. You know, the king of Tyre is great splendor, decked out, all the stones of fire covering him and all that, because he had all the gemstones. That's why King Solomon went to him to go build stuff. And he gave him gold, he gave him a lot of things, and he sent his Canaanite navy to go help King Solomon mine gold in other places and stuff like that. But anyway, he came down in all splendor, and then he looked at the cities that King Solomon gave him, and he looked and he said, "What's this, my brother?" He said, "My brother. What is this, my brother?" And then he called it Kubal, something like that. He's like, he called those 20 cities collectively. He said, "This is Kubal." And then he went away. Now, if you look up that word Kubal, you're not going to find it. You need to actually go to the Google, and then you type in what does Kubal mean, and then it's going to lead you to other places, and then there you will find out that the word is worthless. Basically nothing and stuff like that. So that's what I mean with, you got to travel around, to find information on certain things, because not everything is actually in the Blue Letter Bible, and sometimes they make mistakes in the Blue Letter Bible. But through the power of Yahawashi, he's going to gear your head like, look, there is the truth. And then you're going to be like, damn, I didn't know that. And then with the rest of the people, Satan is going to come and he's going to gear your head toward the left. And then you're going to think that's it. That's where the false prophets kick in. Or the false teachers, or the twisters of doctrines and stuff like that. Yahawashi, I'll remain in what I am. I'll remain in what I have from my ancestors and stuff like that. And that's all I want. I don't want nobody, nothing else. Because I always thought to myself, like, no, Numbers chapter 36 and Numbers 27. I don't want nothing to nobody else. I want everything that my forefather, my bloodline has. That's what I want. You can keep what you got. And then the scriptures in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, it says that covered all these things, but yet I show you something more better, right? And what is that something that is more better? Prophecy. He that cometh in the spirit of Yahawashi had the spirit of prophecy. That's what's better than all the gifts in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and the last verse. Let me get that real quick for you. Now, 1 Corinthians 12 and 12 and 31. But covet earnestly the best gifts, and yet show I unto you a more excellent way. So what is that excellent way? Matthew chapter 22, verse 36. Matthew 22 and 36. Huh? Where did I put? Oh, yeah. Matthew 22 and 36. Matthew 22. Matthew 22 and 36. Okay, that says. Huh? Matthew 22. No, that isn't it? Sorry. Sorry. It isn't that one. Let me see here. Revelation 19. What did I write down? Why did I write that down? 22 and 36? Oh, yeah, I know why I wrote it down. That's good too. But that's not what I wanted. But that was good too. Matthew 22, 36, and 37. It's good too, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted actually 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 1. Follow after charity, and charity edified. So real charity, real love in Yahawashi edified. And like I said, if you can edify a Jacob descendant, you know what I'm saying, you know this guy's carnal. Like if you say something stupid, he finna fight. But if you can teach him, then it's a good thing, because you start making them start thinking like, man, I shouldn't be punching everybody when I would get angry, stuff like that. And then you work with him. But I don't know, like if somebody else talk to him and he trying to break down scriptures, he's gonna get into trouble with him, because some of the people they think they're better than you when they're trying to explain scriptures to you. Nah, man, you got to give, through the spirit of Yahawashi, you need to do what you need to do and be respectful, because not every man is about that. And if you call him like, hey man, you acting like a woman, all emotion and shit like that. Not everybody is like that. I'm not afraid. but no, Lord willing, I know what's up. Sometimes you need to scan the situation and be like, just talk a different manner to him, you know? But anyway, so 1 Corinthians 14:1. Follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, which is mentioned in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, right? Read it again. Follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye prophesy. That's the one that's better when it says 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 31. But covet earnestly the best gifts, and yet show I unto you a more excellent way. And what is that excellent way? This Revelation chapter 19, verse 10. It saith, the sun is not melting the stuff no more in my eye. Damn. I should really watch out with this thing. Always have that. If I stand still, all of a sudden I'm watering. But that's because I stand in the sun. Anyway, so it says right here, Revelation 19:10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. John the Revelator was actually doing that, but this is what to the angel, this is what the angel said. Anyway, sorry. It says right here, and I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, because he served Yahawashi also, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahawashi. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahawashi is the spirit of prophecy. So that is the better one, right? The spirit of prophecy, the spirit of an Yahawashi. So once you have that, that's better than all the gifts that you actually be praying for. That's why I don't need to do that. I need what I need to do is pray for that spirit of prophecy, so I can, say things before it happen. And Yahweh says I'm good. I don't need the rest. I'm good. Yahweh says I got what I got. I got what I have been given, and that's it. I don't want more. I can have more if the Lord give it. But other than that, I'm not seeking things. Yahweh says you be content with what you got, and most I might give you more. And I'm not doing it for that. I'm more doing it for. I have my reasons, what was that? Oh yeah, 31. Isaiah 32. Sorry. And let me go back to it. Sorry, 32. All right, Isaiah 32 and 7. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words. Even when the needy speak it right. Because he said, like, for example, that's why Esau is going to do it again. He said, like, yeah, you don't have to take, you're not going to be mandatory to take that jab. Then he turned around and did it. He did it anyway. That's why you shouldn't. You can't believe what the hell you want, but you shouldn't. You can do what the hell you want, but you shouldn't. So, you shouldn't believe these devils, these Edomites. They're actually going to lie to you. Talking about, oh no, we're not going to make it mandatory. You just have to, and then he makes it mandatory. And then when you tell him, like, yeah, but you said that it's not going to be mandatory. Shut up, bitch. do what I say. Or else I'm going to lock you up. That's what he's going to do. He's been doing that. He's showing you that with so many things, man. When he tells you, like, hey, I'm here for your safety, peace and safety. That's when the sudden destruction is going to come upon you, and you're going to be wishing that you listened to, starting with the elder apostles on down at Great Millstone, in that group. You should listen to them. They're going to put you on that path. It's good. And just like Second Ezra says, you gotta walk that path, man. If a kingdom be set in front of you as an inheritance that you will inherit. That's why Esau has this. He always brings it back. He has this cartoon. He made several movies, several cartoons, several animations, like movie type animations and stuff like that. Then somebody dies, and then the person inherits something from their great uncle, some kind of riches, and then they need to sleep in a haunted house for one day. And sometimes they mix the stories. Then in that haunted house, there's a group of people and stuff like that. Then somebody just end up killing, everybody in the movie or whatever. And then the only one that survives is the one that gets the inheritance. You can kind of put it down like that. You have an inheritance, and just like in the movie, there's two different movies, by the way. One is where you are in a haunted house and you need to stay there for a whole night, sleep there, and then in the morning everything shall be yours. But it's dangerous as hell because it's haunted. Spooks coming out, doing stuff. And then you have the other one, which is the same type of story, but this time you have like a Scream, some kind of serial killer in the movie or something like that. And then everybody is invited, like 15 or 10 family members, and the one that stays alive until the end of the beginning of the next day, those are the ones that will inherit those riches, So yeah, basically the truth is like that. No, not the truth also, but I mean like 2nd Ezra 7. You see a inherited kingdom, like a house, a great house, mansion, whatever, and then you need to walk upon that plank, that very dangerous road, that how you call that thing again? Bridge. You need to walk upon that very dangerous bridge in order for you to pass the waters and stuff like I said. Water can kill, fire can kill too, but it can bring life. Because if you're a hunter in the woods and stuff like that, you need fire to cook that meat. You can't eat it raw. You can eat it raw, but you shouldn't. You can do a lot of things. You can sell your soul to the devil. You just shouldn't. But anyway, you're gonna need to go to that thing. That's the point. And the path toward it is a very narrow path. You're not gonna be there with your friend, your Ishmaelite Arab friend, your Caucasus friend, whatever, Elam, whatever friends you got, man. It's not gonna. They heathens anyway, so they ain't gonna make it. But you have a lot of Jacob descendants that want to bring them with you. But for the other Jacob descendants that think you're gonna bring another one with you, yeah, that path is too narrow. You're gonna have to walk in front of them or behind them. So that's what you finna be supposed to be doing. And the better thing is if you were shepherd, you walk in front of them a little bit, make sure that they're behind, because just like what Esau did Amalek, he waited until the hindermost Jacob descendants that were weak and feeble, and then he started murdering them. So what you need to do as a shepherd, you need to make sure they're continually fed, giving them water continually, scriptures continually, grass is what sheep eat. They don't eat corn, Sheep don't eat corn. If you throw it for them, they probably eat it. Just like cows don't eat corn, but Esau be feeding them corn because that's false doctrine. But anyway, they'll eat it, but that's not natural. They're supposed to actually eat grass. But anyway, you're supposed to make sure that the sheep are taken care of. Then you walk a little bit in front of them. You make sure that they don't fall back. And once that time comes, then you go way into the back of them, and then you lead them on forefront. But therefore, you have how you call that thing again? You have many workers. The laborers are few, but the laborers are few, but the work is plain. Basically like that. So in Yahawashi Meashai, then you keep it down like that. Right, but you still have to get to that part where you're going to catch that inheritance, and therefore we do it. We do it for that inheritance sake, but it's going to be a dangerous path, right? So let me read on. So it says Isaiah 32 and 7. The instrument also of the true are evil. He devised wicked devices and destroyed the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. But the liberal devised liberal things, and any liberal things shall he, and by liberal things shall he stand. And by the way, the word liberal goes into the word noble. So, verse 9, Isaiah 32 and 9, subtitle, after calamity, restoration. So, first is going to come the calamity upon Jacob. And the Jacob descendant women are going to find out that the calamity is going to come upon them. And this chapter goes hand in hand with Proverbs chapter 1, which I'm going to read after this. But it says right here, Isaiah 32 and 9, rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice. Ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Now these are the daughters of Jacob, man. This also, this does not include them, but they're going to have to deal with it too. I said it better like that. This is the daughters of Jacob, the careless daughters of Jacob. But anyway, many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, all of them, all women, even the women of the heathen nations. Ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. You ain't gonna gather nothing no more. The jobs is going to fall down. The money income is going to fall down. Then everybody's going to rely back and resort back to how it used to be, which is self-dependence. You're not going to be able to depend on the government anymore, because that is what people have been grown accustomed to. That's why I gave the analogy. If you read the book of Daniel 2 or Daniel 4, you will see that Nebuchadnezzar was that tree. And then all the heathen nations, signified as birds and beasts and stuff like that, they all came to actually keep themselves warm toward that tree, keep themselves good and in company. And everybody went to that tree. All the heathen nations went to that tree. All the birds were safe in his branches and stuff like that. Until this day, you still got that same concept. All the heathen nations, their women and stuff like that, where do they go for safety? The countries of Esau, man. Well, nowadays you hear that the countries of China is safe for women too. That's when you go in them tourist spots. Because if you go to them other spots, but anyway, he's a great tree also. Moab is a great tree. Ammon is a great tree also. If you go around there, you know, the women over there are in those trees also as birds. So they're doing how you call that thing? They're doing the same thing that they used to do back in the days with the king of Babylon, which is being safe in his society. And they were. You know, the birds are safe. But the Most High is going to be like that bear. He's going to shake that tree. You won't be afraid. Waking up out of your sleep. Oh, my goodness. Right? Because a lot of these women are asleep. These men, too, by the way. Got pink hair. Lord willing, I don't see that here, actually. Thinking about it. I don't see that here. I seen a few. But there goes the charity and the edification, because if you really care about them, I'm not just randomly talking to them. If I come in a situation like that, you know what I'm saying, and I get to talk to them, analyze their mind, see if it's a knucklehead, or if he's just, all of them are ignorant, but if he just lacking understanding concerning what he's actually doing. I'm going to give you an example of a fact how I might talk to him. Ask him like, hey, is your mother a Caucasus female? No, he laughing. No, man, what you saying? Why your hair yellow? Get him thinking. Give him another example. If an Edomite female see, if a Jacob female, what is that? Well, if Jacob descendants, they see Edomite females with Rasta and stuff like that, what is the first thing that come out of their mouth? They say cultural appropriation and stuff like that. Then I'd be like, wait a minute, but look at your hair. What about that? But I'm not saying that to them females. It's a waste of time. Just leave them. Say that to the men. Those are the prize of Yahawashi. So that's how you can get them out that bullshit, man. You know? That's just one example. Let's talk to them. You know, because you have to understand, when I was in the 90s, I had that little dumb shit too. I had like, here a little pluck, because I learned it from them. I saw the Jacob hip hop dances and shit like that, whatever, break dance, whatever. I saw it, so I did it too. And I didn't have nobody to guide me in Yahawashi, right? So of course you're gonna do dumb shit. You walking around up on the planet Earth trying to look pretty, and then once Yahawashi, once you get that spirit on you, Lord willing, then you're gonna be walking around like rough tough. Rough and stuff is He-Man motherfuckers. That's how you're gonna be walking around like that. You ain't gonna do that no more. You ain't gonna be like, I'm trying to just look handsome. No, man, you know what I'm saying? That handsome shit is out the door, man. You know, because you know what they do with that? They bend them. I'm not in that category. I don't want to be in that category. But a lot of Jacob descendants, they think, you know, when they're walking around like Esau with their hair yellow and all that, they think they're pretty. They have no idea what they're supposed to be, handsome or pretty. Pretty is women. You know what I'm saying? A man is not supposed to be pretty. If you are, you need to let somebody buy a strap-on dildo for you or something. I don't know. Anyway, so it says right here, Isaiah chapter 32, verse 10. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip ye, and make ye bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. Sackcloth is a sign of mourning. You know, when you're at the fish market selling fish, you don't wear your Gucci and your Prada. You wear clothing that you know You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if they get filthy. Well, that's the same thing in the time of sadness. In the time of sadness, you don't wear decked out things and all that there and trying to be all beautiful and pretty because you don't feel like it. Unless you got demons on you. And then you are emo or whatever, or gothic, which they put mascara on their eyes, then they go cry. And then they take pictures of themselves at the cemetery or something like that. And then they post it online. That is beauty to them because they're backwards. But anyway, a normal person, we're not trying to put makeup on their face and basically be in a time of mourning, crying with the makeup all getting wet. You're not normal. You know, you're not normal. Normal people don't do that. It's people that are in this world that are trying to show off. Because why you on the internet talking your stories anyway? Well, I went to this and I went to that. Why are you talking? But it's good. I can take that as an example and then show others this is how not to be. This is how not to tell the world your stories and stuff, like your personal business. What are you doing to yourself? They clowns. As soon as something happened to them, they're online talking about it. Their mom, everything, right? They're sharing pictures of food, like go fucking eat that shit or something. Stuff that shit in your mouth and get that shit and keep on rolling, man. You know, that's how one of them. That's how dudes get killed, posting pictures and stuff where they at. But that's another story. That's another story. You know, if you ain't doing nothing, you could do whatever you want. But still, posting food pictures, man. I used to make fun of people like that because it's foolishness. Posting pictures of your food. Fuck's that all about? Anyway, but you do have others that post food in correction. This is what you're supposed to eat, and this is what you're not supposed to eat. So that's a different thing. Not the clownery, buffoonery, going to a restaurant and taking a picture of a $60 meal. Meanwhile, I could take $20, €20, and make a meal better than that shit right there. And there's more. Tastes better. I saw people having a what's that thing called? Anyway, it's called $60. It costs $60 for a meal, a pasta and a bottle of water. Esau be ripping them off, man. But that's what you get. You need to go cook. Hit the kitchen. Cook for yourself. Stop paying these restaurants and making them rich. There's nearly 100, nearly 100 just for a small bowl of pasta. I'm not hating Esau on that, man. People deserve it. He was a Jacob descendant woman also. But anyway, Isaiah 32:12. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, because the pleasant fields have the food, the vegetables and fruit. For the fruitful vine, which is wine, but you also had other fruitful things that basically represent food, and teats represent tits, which represents milk, which represents nutrients. Verse 13. Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, which are the things of the chaos of the world, the philosophies of the heathen nations in our midst, plus the heathen nations in our midst, making us follow after other doctrines and other gods and stuff like that. Starting with, for example, they shall be a thorn in thy side if you keep them around, because they're going to come with new doctrines and different doctrines, and therefore they're going to actually cause you to please yourself within their customs. Just like what we did with the heathen Canaanites. Just like what we did with the Mizraim. Because until this day, because the Most High said, you caused my people to go back to Egypt and err. It's not going back to Egypt in a physical form. It's going back to the philosophies of Egypt. You know, because you're there. But you're here, but you're there. With your mind just... And Yahawashi said in the book of Matthew 6, he said, put not thy treasure upon earth, where people can steal. So, where's your heart? Your heart is where your love is. So if you really love Mizraim, that's your heart. That you are there, you know. And the northern tribes, they love Assyria, which is nowadays modernly, both of them are Esau. Egypt is Esau, but Assyria is Esau. But the southern tribes, they physically want to go to physical Egypt with their mind. Their mind is there. And northern tribes, they are spiritually and they physically also want to go to America, which is Assyria, which is Egypt, which is Nineveh, you know, all that there, symbolically to the Spirit. Now, Isaiah chapter 32, verse 13, upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous cities, because that's what the Most High is going to do. All the places where the joy is at of Jacob in the land of America, for example, starting there first and foremost. But you have all over the world, you have Jacob descendants that are in a joyous state of mind, especially because they got that money, especially because they got that fame through the internet and stuff like that, which is turning into people that have followers of millions. And when you look at their content, you be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You talking garbage shit. But hey, you get yours, man. Because the Most High make it rich and the Most High make it poor. So I'm not knocking anyone. I'm just knowing like you got your price. And it's not on it shouldn't be on wait, let me say it better. It's not like, you know, certain people, they say, well, you're going to get destroyed anyway. But secretly, they actually want that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? For example, you have guys, right? They have a lot of women, right? And then the other guy that doesn't have women, and then when he sees something bad is happening in his life, he'd be like, yeah, see, you had a lot of women. I got this, and I'm still better than you. That's because he still compares himself to that person. He still actually be thinking like, kind of wanted to a certain degree. But me, personally, I don't want none of that shit, man. I was just looking at you and be like, yeah, you're going to fall. And you're going to fall. And you're going to fall. Why? Because these things are of the world. He that loveth the world, the Most High's love is not in it. So if I see you chasing bitches, you're always trying to get the new girl, I already put you in a category like there where you are. I put you on a level. That's it. And not bothering myself with you. Yeah. Because like I said, not like I said, but you have people that scream Yahawashi, and they're often still trying to get all these baby mamas, basically, because that's what you're finna get. But that's another story. Just let me go on. Now it says right here. It says in Isaiah chapter 32, verse 14, because the palaces shall be forsaken, the multitude of the city shall be left, the forts and towers. The forts and towers shall be for dens forever. A joy of wild asses, a pasture of flocks. The Most High is going to make it to where every places that were populated, Most High is going to make it desolate, man. But wait, let me read it again. I have something else to say. Because let me read it again. Isaiah 32 and 14. Because the palaces shall be forsaken, the multitude of the city shall be left. The fort is somewhere that's fortified, you know. The forts and towers shall be for dens forever, because animals are gonna live in there, you know. Because a lot of these dens, right? Now, if you look out these clockwork towers that are not being lived in anymore, especially the wooden ones, what do you mostly get in there? Owls and other type of birds. They're gonna set their nets there, and you have certain type of so-called mammals or whatever, basically beasts. You have certain beasts that will go into them clock towers and start living there, and make that their den, you know, because it's warm. It's good. It's a tower. They can look out and know that there is a built house for them. So they got it, you know. But anyway, so it says right here. So it says the forts and towers shall be for dens forever. A joy of wild asses, a pasture of flocks, because it's going to be so much grass. It's going to be heaven for these cows. You have wild cows, horses, all these wild animals. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a desert, a pleasure for them. You know, because it's going to be grass. You know? Excuse me. So it says 15, until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, which is happening right now, because our nation is desolate, man. Our people is desolate. Grass be growing on the backs of Jacob descendants in the spirit, man, spiritually, because they ain't cleaning themselves up, spiritually to the power of Yahawashi, because that's that water. Gonna clean you up, gonna fix you up. Once you get that water upon you, then you finna take a bath. You know what I'm saying? Finna take that bath. Finna get showered upon. You know, with the riches of Yahawashi, you got gold, real gold, not that gold. But you got a real gold shower up on you, man, making you decked out. You shimmering. with light. You know them sprinkles that they have upon them birthdays, children and stuff like that. My mouth is getting dry. You got them children that be having sprinkles upon their birthday, and then it's always sprinkly, you know, shining. No, that's you. Once you get that water upon you from Yahawashi, right? Right, so it says right here, Isaiah 32:15, until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field. All the desolation that Jacob has, that all the heathen nations did, not just Esau. The desolate they made Esau, they made erase it, even to the foundation thereof, and we were erased from off the land first and foremost, and then we the Jacob descendants were erased out of our minds. Now we call ourselves after our color. If you just sit down and think about it, it's funny as shit. It's the funniest thing upon the planet Earth. We call ourselves as a nation. We call ourselves as a color. That makes it's just funny. You got Jamaicans talking about you and the blacks. I'm not. What the fuck you talking about? You don't have a name for them? They call themselves after a direction. West Indies. Call themselves after a port. Rico. Port Rich. Because they robbed the shit out. Back in the days with the gold and the silver, they stole it from there. But anyway, it's just funny. Just analyzing the names and stuff like that. Just analyzing the names that they have given us. And then the ones that we push up for ourselves and stuff like that. It's just hilarious. Hilariously funny. The blacks. It's just funny. But that's how the Most High destroyed us and allowed us to be destroyed because of our stubbornness. But now Yahawashi is waking us back up. Our daughters are gonna turn back into a palace instead of a palace built on a sewer, because that's what they are. Because wait, let me get that scripture where it says a palace. Palace. I always forget what this is, but that's why I got my phone. Psalms 144, verse 12. That our sons may be as plants grown up. Wait, let me start at Psalms 144 and 11. Because it says right here, Psalms 144, 11. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, which are in this case, the Edomites, but it's talking about the heathen nations, whose mouths speak vanity, Esau. But if you are one of the Jacob descendants that has been taken captive of Esau, Ishmael, Moab, and all these type of places and stuff like that, you have Jacob descendants there, and Iran also, they're having a bad time over there, man. Elam too, you know, the city people, Siddi, with the S-I-D-D. If you look that up, you will see. And they're being hated by Elam, man. Lord willing, I want to have a talk with these Elam people. I want to have a talk with Ishmael too. I'm going to have a talk with Moab too. Everybody. Have a talk with them. Right? A long-winded talk too. So it says right here, rid me, Psalms 144:11. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouths speak vanity. What's up, yo? What's up? Whose mouths speak vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. So your right hand is supposed to be your good hand, and that's the falsehood. For example, Esau got these churches. So in his so-called most holy, there is where he be attacking children. Let that sink in. And also with them schools and all that type of stuff. In the most safe places that the children are supposed to be, he got them female predators over there, raping them children. You know, licking up on them if it's a girl, sucking them off if it's a little child. These are the things that they do, man. I'm not making it up. I'm just telling you the graphic situation of it. Because when you look at them, you be like, oh, you know, see pretty anyway. You see the comment section, you be like, I wish I had that. You read, I wish I had that when I was growing up. And where were these teachers when I was growing up? They was being chin checked because then they knew they would be in trouble. Because back then, Esau had their loss was a little bit different compared to now. But if you were one of the elites, you can get away with that shit since back then. They was doing it. They just didn't allow the public to do it. Because they was sodomites. If you watch this movie called, it's not Skull and Bones, but it's called The Shepherd, something with the shepherd. I forgot the movie name. It's The Shepherd, something like that. Matt Damon or something. He plays in that movie. The Good Shepherd. If you see, that's what they had. They was pissing on each other, and that was in those days. But if you did it outside of that clique and the sodomite thing, if you did it outside of the clique, they had something that they called gay bashing back in the day. They did it themselves. They used to bash the shit out of these motherfuckers. They did it amongst themselves. But then they started to actually create it for themselves as for the public. Now, if you do that, you be in trouble. You ain't bashing them no more. You happy bashing them now. Don't be doing that no more. But anyway, they switched it up. That's the point. Because they've been doing that. But now they allow the public to do it without actually raining down on them. Which was a front anyway. Which was a front. You know? Meanwhile, behind the scenes, he probably whispering in his ears like, if you join the church, you can do whatever you want to these little kids. Just don't do it outside of this. We're going to pay for you to get out of it. We're going to pay your lawyer. But since you ain't, connected to us, we're going to have to lock you up. Oh, please, someone, let me just join right now. What? It's too late, man. When you get out of jail, come back. What you going to do when you get out of jail? I'm going to call me a pastor. That's laced up. That's laced up in that's laced up in how you call that thing that with the rings, that illuminated ones, laced up in there. Anyway, Psalms 144:12. Let me read it again. Sorry. Psalms 144:11. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouths speak vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. So that's their best side. This is my best side. That's their best side. Anyway, you don't want to see the left side then. So it says right here, read it again. And their right hand is a right hand of falsehood, that our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth. Zechariah chapter 14, where it says that the Jacob descendants shall be as pots, because we are plants. Vineyards, Isaiah chapter 5, a vineyard. So it says right here, verse 12, that our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth. And a plant is very stable. Trying to rip it out the ground. Well, it's small right now, but come back in a year and then trying to rip it out the ground with your bare hands. That's not gonna work. You can't get a tree out of there. It's not gonna work. Anyway, it says it right here. Even an olive tree. You have some big olive trees, but other olive trees are still tiny and skinny. But some of them, why don't you try and rip it out with your bare hands? You're not gonna be able to. You're not gonna be able to, because it's stable. It's a tree. You can't do it. And the sycamore tree, that's how Yahawashi also has certain men. They're grounded, man. You ain't getting them out. You shouldn't try neither. But I'm just giving you an example of the fact that the sycamore tree roots, that's how you should be stable. The very elect will be like a sycamore tree, man. The very elect. But anyway, sorry, I keep on talking to it. Psalms 144, verse 11. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouths speak vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. That our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth, that our daughters may be as cornerstones, because she's supposed to be a pillar of rest, not a pillar of stress. So, that our daughters may be as cornerstones, polished after the similitude of a palace. So she's supposed to be a cornerstone, and she's supposed to be polished after the similarity of a palace. when you look at a palace, you'd be like, yeah, I want to live in there. It's kind of, you know what I'm saying? So when you see her, you'd be like, yeah, I want to live with her. You know what I'm saying? Oh, live with me. Let her live with me, stuff like that. And I want to lean upon her when it's bad times and stuff like that, you know? You might have a bad day and you come home and your girl be like, what's that? How you doing? And it cheers you up, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, where you been? You know? That's a pillar of stress. It's going to turn into a salt pillar too once that time comes. Because she ain't listening. But, going on, I can read on in Psalms 144, but I got the point. The point is that our daughters are going to be like palaces. Nowadays, they might look good and stuff like that, whatever. But they might look good, but they're built upon sewers. So if you dig down, get the hell out of there, man. Like, nah, I don't think I want to put my seed up in that girl. Because she's going to grow wild olive trees, man. Fig trees that are just poisonous. Pomegranates that'll put you to sleep because it's deadly. Those are the type of trees that the Jacob descendant daughters are breeding now. Those are the trees that they have given birth to and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Isaiah chapter 32 verse 15. Until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest. That's how big we're going to grow. Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field. Because in Habakkuk it says that he looked around and he saw nothing but wickedness. Wickedness compassed them round about, all 360. So it's like, man, it's not good. So once that time comes, the Most High is going to make it to where only righteousness will dwell, where the Jacob descendants saw, 360. Yeah. Verse 17, Isaiah 32 and 17. And the work of the righteous shall be peace, because we're going to be as extractors too, which is forcibly extract stuff. Isaiah 60 talks about that. You know, that gates shall be open continually, and even loose from that, we're going to come and get your stuff. Anyway, 17. And the work of the righteous shall be peace, and the effect of the righteous, and the effect of righteousness, quietness, and assurance forever. That's what we're going to be. Jacob shall be quiet 360 degrees, you know, and shall be at rest, and none shall make him afraid, because we're going to be assured. You know what I'm saying? Not like thinking like, hey man, if we break the laws this time, the Most High is going to put us back in captivity. Lamentations chapter 4 and the two last verses explains that theory, that is not going to happen. So Isaiah chapter 32 verse 18. And my people shall dwell in a peaceable habitation, and in sure dwellings, which is being sure of, and in quiet and in quiet resting places. Yeah. When it shall hail coming down on the forest, and the city shall be low in a low place, meaning it's not going to get messed up, because the judgment of Yahawashi is basically, it's going to be pebbles for us, like pick, 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 pick. It's going to be big boulders for them. Throwing boulders, you know, rolling down from a mountain and hitting them like a bowling ball thing, like that was something. And then they all fall down, right, like a bowling ball, like all the pins. That's how the heathen nations are gonna get it. Isaiah 32 in the last verse, verse 20. It says here, blessed are ye that sow beside all waters. And I got a precept for that, which is, let me get it in my phone, which is in Psalms chapter 1 verse Psalms 1 and 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of Yahawashi, the Most High Yahweh. And in his law doth he meditate day and night. Here it comes. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. Those rivers is this truth, that bringeth forth fruit in his season. Your fruit is basically the fruits of labor, is basically the things that you Second Ezra chapter 3 was talking about, Ezra was saying to the Most High, we kept our laws and stuff like that, and still it doesn't show forth our fruit. That's because we was basically meant to go through everything, you know. But nowadays, in the near future, we're gonna show that fruit. Yeah, and your fruit also in the book of Matthew 7, I think. Your fruit as a tree, your fruit are your students, your pupils, the ones that you bring forth toward Yahawashi, because it's not your sheep. You just put them there like, here, walk this way. You remember that song, walk this way? Yeah, rock and roll is black, by the way. And don't forget that. You need to remember that. You need to always, because wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Also on the other one, 4 and 6, Hosea 4 and 6. I forgot what it says right there. I know. Wait a minute. Basically, the lack of wisdom basically got us destroyed. So, you need to have wisdom in this world too, of this world too, in this world and of this world. So wait, let me read it again. And bringeth forth his fruit in his season, and his leaf also shall not wither. I'm reading Psalms 1 and 3. And whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So let me read it again, Psalms 1 and 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of waters, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. Yeah, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. Sorry. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So back to Isaiah 32 and 20. Blessed are ye that sow beside all waters. That's what you're supposed to be doing, because you're going to be that tree, and you're going to actually have fruit in due season. You know, the correct season. And if you read the book of Psalms chapter 126, that's going to beautifully explain. Let me get that for you as I wrap it up. Wait, let me already put it down so that I don't forget it. I'm going to end it off with that. So it says right here, Isaiah 32 and 20. Blessed are ye that sow besides all waters, that send forth thither the feet of the ox and the ass. Right? The feet of the ox and the ass. Those are two stubborn. Let me show you something. It says right here, right? You send hither the feet of the ox and the ass, which is a donkey. It's old English for the word donkey, ass. So it says right here, Isaiah chapter 1. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to take that Jacob descendants and put them on that path and let them walk toward that inheritance kingdom of, mansion of his, that his ancestors gave him. That you put them on that path and be like, see, your forefathers put that mansion there for you. Walk it. Well, it's the Lord Yahawashi, but I mean, like, he gave all 12 tribes, he gave them all individually a mansion. And, yeah, and there's only 144,000 that's going to walk toward that way. And of course, the 1/3. You know, they included too. Those are innumerable numbers. Anyway, Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider. So now going back to Isaiah 32 and 20. Blessed are ye that sow beside all waters, because you got this truth, that send forth thither the feet of the ox and the ass. So the feet of the ox and the feet of the ass, you're supposed to send forth toward a specific path. And that path is in Yahawashi. Put them on that path. They're going to be good. And like I said, sometimes, you know, you got to correct them. You got to lace their boots. You sit them down, you know, put their clothing together, because they're small children. You know, that's why you got to fix them up. And before you know it, they start tying their own shoelaces in the scriptures. They start walking that path. And then that's when you see them, then you don't let loose. You just hover like a bird. Like, hey, if you messed up, I'm going to talk to you. Not mess up, but more like, hey, so what does scripture mean? And then you give it. Yahweh this up. And if you don't know it, you pray to Yahawashi, give you that breakdown, and then you break bread with him. And then you tell him, like, okay, next time, you need to soften up the bread first. You dip it up in the tea, soften it, and then you can eat it. That's how you feed babies. Because if you eat that bread, sometimes the bread is hard, you know what I'm saying? But it tastes good. On the inside it's soft, but it's hard to bite. And if you ain't got no teeth, you can't bite that bread. So you soften it up, you know. And how do you soften up them scriptures? To thy precepts I get understanding. So you always jump to them precepts so that they can give you understanding of a particular scripture. Be like, that's a hard scripture right there. The precepts is going to loosen up that scripture for you because they're going to make it soft. You know, you dip it you dip that bread, which is the scriptures. You dip that bread into the tea, which is the scriptures. You dip that bread in the tea, you make it soft, then you can eat it. And that's how you sup with Yahawashi, you know what I'm saying? So, the last one, Psalms chapter 126, verse 1 until 6. When Yahweh turned again the captivity of Zion, which is Bethlehem, Psalms 48 and 2. That's Zion, is Bethlehem. Right, so it says right here. It's Mount Moriah, but if you look it up, it's Bethlehem. Well, in you need to see where Yahawashi was born, because Yahawashi was born in Zion. But anyway, enough of that. Let me go on. So it says right here, we were like them that dream. Wait, let me try and find it out for you. Wait. Okay, Matthew 2 and 2. It says, no, 2 and 1, sorry. It says, now when Yahawashi was born in Bethlehem of Judaea, right? It says Bethlehem, right? So he was born in Bethlehem, right? So it says here, excuse me, Bethlehem of Judaea. Sorry, pardon. So it says here, 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 1. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, 12 tribes, the chief of the fathers of the children of Jacob, unto King Solomon in Jerusalem, that they might bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahweh out of the city of David, which is Zion. So the city of David is Zion, right? Sorry. Psalms 48. Sorry, Psalms 48 and 2. Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, on the sides of the north, the city of the great king. So, who's that great king? Well, where was he born? I'll put the breakdown in the thing because I lost it right. I lost it right there. The exact straight to the point. But it says here Matthew 2 and 1. Now when Yahawashi was born in Bethlehem, Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. But he was born there in Bethlehem. And where's Bethlehem? Well, it's the city of David. Okay, 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 7. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion. The same is the city of David. Zion is the city of David. And Yahawashi was born there. It was a... Yeah, this is the one. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna put the link in the description box. But I kind of broke it down already there. But yeah, it's in Zion. Hey, maybe I'll put it in my book actually. Wait, let me see something. Psalms 48. 48, actually. I think I'll put it there. Psalms 48, man. Which is... Matthew 2:1, Malachi 1:14, Psalms 137. Psalms 137, let me see something. Psalms 137. Pages is sticking. Yep, we gotta wrap it up. 137 and 1:3. Damn, listen. I'm gonna put the link in I'm gonna put these scriptures in the description box. Anyway, let me finish it off. So Psalms 126, verse 1. Now it says right here. Psalms 126, verse 1. When Yahweh turned again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. Then was our mouth filled with laughter. Not filming. Then was our mouth filled with laughter, and our tongue with singing. Then said they among the heathen, this is what the heathens is going to say amongst each other, like, eh? Then said they among the heathen, the Lord had done great things for them. That shows you that once that time comes, the heathen nations is going to be like, it's for them. It's not for the Lord had done everything for us or for the world. It's for them. All right? Read it again. Then was our mouth filled with laughter, and our tongue with singing. Then said they among the heathen, the Lord had done great things for them. The Lord had done great things for us. Then we're going to say it too. Verse 3. The Lord had done great things for us. Wherefore we are glad, not them. Turn again our captivities, O Lord, which he did. As the streams in the south. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. And we sowing in tears, man. You know? You sow this truth in tears. And you're going to reap in joy. Some might physically cry. Some might, spiritually cry and be sorrowful and mourn and stuff like that. The house of mourning instead of the house of feasting. Going on, verse 6. He that goeth forth weeping, bearing precious seed. The seed is what this precious seed is the word. Precious is something that is not common. I'm going to give you an example of 1 Samuel 3:1. It says, and the child Samuel ministered unto the Most High before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious in those days. There was no open vision. So that in order for you to get what I just said is Acts 13 and '20. So Acts 13 and 20. It says right here. And after that he gave unto them judges about the space of 450 years until Samuel the prophet. So if you read the book of Judges and then you read the book of Ruth all together, it's about a space of 450 years. So for 450 years the Most High didn't really talk to them. That's what it says in Samuel 3:1. 1 Samuel 3:1. And the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious in those days. Because for 450 years he didn't talk to the Jacob descendants. He didn't talk to them like that. Going on. And the word of the Lord was precious in those days. There was no open vision. There was no vision because he didn't give him. And then when he started talking to Samuel, started hearing voices. Anyway, so it says right here, going back to Psalms 126, verse 6, he that goeth forth weeping, bearing precious seed, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing. Yeah, you're bringing precious seeds over there, you gone till November, and then you come back, and everybody be like, man, where you been? Man, I got this weed, You know, like actual grain, not wheat where you smoke. No, not that one. I got this grain, right? I got this wheat, and they built up like boulders, man. Got this wheat backed up on my shoulders and stuff like that, walking around with some golden grain. Yeah, I wrote this out, of course, because you finna get out there and do the work. Hey, shit, it's late. Okay, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. That's the golden grain. That's the sheaves, because that's food. That's prosperity. That's wisdom. Yeah. Well, with wisdom you gather those sheaves, and with that, I'm gonna give all praises to the Most High Yahweh, Bashem Yahshua, Bashem Yahweh, double honors unto the elder apostles, set great millstones for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things, and shalom to the sincere Akim across the world. Shalom.